Hello everyone, and welcome back to Adventure Materials. This is episode 4 of our Let's Play of Ironsworn Dungeon Crawl. We are using the Ruins of the Undercity dungeon generator by Kabuki Kaiser, which is excellent. And if the map on the left side of the screen looks a little different here, it's because I accidentally didn't save it after the last session, so I had to recreate it from the video. So I think everything is in place except for maybe some of the lines are just slightly off, but functionally it should be the same as far as we're concerned for our game. At the end of the last episode, the party recovered quite a few treasures. They found ruined tapestries, or I guess not ruined, valuable tapestries in both room 5 and room 6. But a couple of bad rolls meant that our party is now limited to basically having to descend to the 6th floor of the dungeon. I'm sorry, the 2nd floor of the dungeon through room 6. So our encounters are definitely getting more dangerous. After finding those treasures, the party retreated, so they're now sitting pretty well on 750 gold pieces worth of coins they found here in a cave, and 400 gold pieces worth of tapestries that they recovered. Now, in Ironsworn, gold doesn't actually have a direct relation with the way the game works, but the way the fiction works of the game is we can take the gold that they have into account when considering how things happen for characters. So because we found 750 gold coins and 400 gold pieces worth of tapestries that hopefully we're going to be able to sell, I'm going to start by giving each character 375 GP. So Pembra, our knight, and Cormac, our wizard, are both getting 375 GP. Now, this is not going to be, I'm not going to be tracking this as carefully as one would in a Dungeons & Dragons game. I'm not going to be spending money for lodging or to buy incidentals. This is mostly going to be track how much they recovered, and then use it for, possibly when I get enough, I might be able to use it to buy membership in a society, big story events like that. Pay for resurrection if I have enough, something like that. Or if I don't have enough money and a character dies, maybe I won't have enough money to pay for their resurrection spell, that kind of thing. But yes, the key for Ironsworn is don't get bogged down in the details. But we ended the last session after the party had just retreated from a tough fight with a couple of Sturges. Cormac, as you see, is almost dead. The party's supply is quite low. And so I think what we're going to do is Sojourn, which will represent our ability to buy and sell the things we need in our time in town. I'm only going to allow this roll once after each adventure to limit myself, because otherwise obviously you could just roll over and over again. So I'm not going to do that. But we will roll plus heart. If we share a bond, add +1. I don't have a bond with the community yet. I'm thinking soon I might forge a bond with the inn where we're staying if I end up getting a couple of more role-playing elements there. But so for now, we'll roll heart for Sojourn. A strong hit. Excellent. So we may each choose 2 from within the categories below. We really needed that. Let's see. On a hit, we may also focus on 1 and roll plus heart again. And on a strong hit, we could take +2 more. On a weak hit, +1 more. So let's see. So Pembra is going to choose to recuperate, to heal. And I think she will gain plus supply. She's already at maximum momentum, which is really good. But so that gets our party supply up quite well. And now let's see, the wizard. I'm going to have her roll heart for that as well. Let's see. So I'm going to consider this. We were able to sell the tapestries that we were trying to move. But I'm going to roll heart. And if I get a hit, we get that +1 more, which means she was able to find a good deal. So let's see. Strong hit again. Nice. Okay. So we're back to maximum supply, which is really handy. All right, and so we share supply, so that goes up to maximum. And he can choose 2 actions. I don't believe he could choose the same action twice. So Cormac rests and heals, but he also gets his spirit, which in our game is going to represent his magic. He gets that back up to 5. Although it might actually be worth gaining momentum for him. Let's see, that +2 momentum could be quite handy. I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm going to have, now that Pembra is basically back at full strength, I think I'll have her she should be able to use her loyalist and shield bearer powers to fight. So, with that said, let's go back into the dungeon. Now, we are going to be, as before, if you missed from some of our previous episodes, we're using the Ironsworn rules for how the characters and the world act, but we're using the ruins of the Undercity dungeon generator to create a Dungeons & Dragons style dungeon. Actually, one thing I want to do during the Sojourn, because everything worked so well, I want to roll to see whether my characters are able to purchase a crowbar, a pry bar, because I want to get through these 2 gates. I'm not really ready to send my characters down to the 2nd floor of this dungeon yet. So we had a strong hit with supply, so I think we did. I think that's very likely. But in order to do that, I'm just going to roll a D100 here, and I'm going to say there's a 90% chance that we were able to buy a crowbar. 8. Okay, so that's under 90, well under, so we do. Crowbar. Perfect. Okay, so with that, I think we descend back into the dungeon. So, a day or 2 passes. The party still is not famous enough to be able to purchase any hirelings. We learned in the first episode on a bad heart roll that nobody's willing to adventure with new characters in the dungeon. It's just too risky. So, with that said, we return to the shop that houses the secret entrance into the Undercity, and we descend into the dark. And Cormac lights his lantern, and Pembra the knight walks ahead with her shield raised as they creep into these tunnels. And the tunnels here are all worn flagstones, uneven, bumpy stones on the floor, and tightly fitted but weathered stone walls. And so they head north here from the road, or from the corridor, and they skip this right-hand tunnel, and they come here to the left. They take the first left, and they end up at this grate that has been hammered into the stone walls on every side of the tunnel. And Pembra takes her crowbar that she just purchased, and she applies it to the gate. We want to explore this way, and I think being shunted down here to the 2nd floor is too dangerous. So I think to open this, I think we're going to try to secure an advantage using iron. So let's go ahead and roll that. Miss. Ooh, bad luck. Okay, secure an advantage. Miss, you fail, or your assumptions betray you. Pay the price. So I think the price there, unfortunately, is the crowbar snaps. So she put the crowbar in, and she's leaning on it, and she's all cranked up on the potion that Cormac brewed for her last time. And so she's got, her muscles are bulging, and she powers through, and she pries, and then the crowbar just snaps in half. Whoever put these gates in, they're either sealed with magic, or there's something stronger than the iron that they were able to get from their crowbar. So there's nothing for it. They decide to return to the dungeon. I'm going to roll a single roll here, a single delve roll to get back to our previous location. So I think we'll roll wits. We know where we're going, and this is just going to be moving cautiously. Not necessarily sneaking, we have a torch out, but we're just moving carefully, looking for traps, looking for ambushes, that kind of thing. So let's make a straight wits roll and see how it turns out. Miss with the match. Okay, so I think that means we obviously can't get lost here. So I think that means we're getting ambushed. Let's roll on the Oracle to see what kind of action we're about to see here, or what kind of event happens. Uncover history. So let's see, is that our history? Let me roll on the Mythic GM emulator table to get a little more detail. So I'm going to roll 6 is Triumph, 18, the Intellectual. So I think what that means, uncover history, Triumph, the Intellectual. A wizard? Okay, so we're moving this way. We're coming in through the dungeon. We make our way through this room with a caved-in ceiling, through this rotten corridor. And as we get into this long tunnel here, we notice for the first time that, maybe one of the doors is left ajar or something like that. And then as we're here, we notice that we're not the only ones in the dungeon. Instead, there's lights in this large, ankle-deep flooded room that's covered in frescoes of the ancient sultanate. And as we step into the tunnel, the light, let me see, are they aggressive? I think we need to roll heart, face danger with heart, to see how dangerous they are. All right, let's see. So I'm going to roll heart with Pembra. She's got better heart. Weak hit. So I think that means neutral in this case. We're not actually making a compel move or anything. This is just to see who we were facing. And so we know they're recovering history and they're neutral. So we come out, and as we step into the corridor, we hear the sound of crossbows raising and footsteps splashing through the water. And when we look this way, we notice a pair of men in plate mail vests, like plate armored chest plates. I'm thinking like conquistador style stuff, right? They've got like a plate chest plate, and they've got like a metal helm and large crossbows, but they're not really wearing like full knight's armor, that kind of thing. And behind them is a man in flowing robes, and he's got like lights and candles and torches all set up, and he's pouring over the back room, and he says, "Who is it? If it's trouble, take care of them." And so Pembra's got her shield up, and the men with the crossbows are staring us down. And so I think now it's time to face danger with heart, to make sure that we can, talk them into knowing that we're not dangerous. So I'm going to face danger heart here. Strong hit with a match. Nice. Okay. So if we face danger on a strong hit, we get +1 momentum, but she's already at full, so we can't do that. So she, she says, we're, not monsters. We're not here to cause any trouble. We're heading deeper. And so, because we got a match, it might be worth talking a little more to the person. So, I think we're going to head in and see the wizard's going to go, "Who is it?" And the wizard will notice that Cormac is in robes, clearly another sorcerer. And he goes, excellent, just who I was looking for, someone who might be able to help me on my quest. Come in here. And so let's roll to see what he says. We're going to roll a couple of times on here. Do endure duty and challenge strategy. Okay, so endure duty means he talks something about this is his job, but he doesn't relish it. And challenge strategy, maybe, okay, so he explains that he's a member of the Sages Guild. And, it's their job to learn about the ruins and to explore and to find the history of the City of Spires. But it's awful work. Having to actually go into the dungeon is always, it's the lowest level mage's job, the grunt work. And so he says, they always have to do it, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so he is willing to pay us, or at least he would appreciate it if we would let him know if we find any more evidence, or, if we can find any more of these frescoed rooms, any more items of note. And so I think he's going to actually give us his name, and we obviously will agree to do that. And so let's just make this a troublesome vow here. So here, we'll roll heart to see if we can promise to find that for him. Strong hit with a match. Perfect. Okay. So here, let's say, find information about history of ruins. And that's just going to be troublesome. This is just a little side quest. I'm going to pause right here to roll up a name for this character on my Holmesian random name generator. Okay, we actually rolled up a name that goes well with Ha de Paul the Merciless. We got Hobarton the Young. So that must be like a naming convention for the City of Spires, which is kind of cool. Kind of a lucky twist of circumstance. So he introduces himself as Hobarton, known as the Young, and it's clear why. I mean, he's this baby-faced young wizard. Looks like he barely needs to shave. And he's small, like a young wizard would be. And so he gives us directions to the Sages Guild, and he tells us to come to him if we find anything, and he'd happily be willing. He'd owe us a favor if we could find him more information, so he doesn't have to spend his whole time slogging through these corridors when he could be doing some real research in the library. Okay, so with that, which actually turned out great, I'm going to say we return to floor 6. So now, or to room 6 on floor 2. So we walk through this room here, and then down these stairs, and they kind of twist and turn, and we find ourselves in this large cavern that's lit by hanging torches. There's a bunch of, or I'm sorry, not torches, lanterns. There's lanterns hanging from the ceiling from chains. And now it's time to head out. So we've got 2 corridors here that we can adventure through. And so I think we're going to go this way. So let me open up Ruins of the Undercity and see what we've got. All right, so I just rolled up our clues, and we have got a 30-foot corridor that extends into a dark, unilluminated room that has a damp and moldy air, and happens to be covered by frescoes. So I've rolled that 3 times, which means that we've got a hit on our vows. So I'm going to start drawing that in real quick. All right, so we start with our 30-foot corridor, and then it extends into a cave, a circular room 30 feet in diameter. So for that, we will start here, give or take. All right, there we go. All right, and it has dark, and it is damp and moldy. And for room contents, we roll 10, a monster only. Okay, so we've got a monster coming in. So let's add that in there. Here we go. We've got room 7. All right. There we go. So room 7. So I'm not sure what kind of monster we get. First, we have to see how we're moving. We know that we're going to be moving cautiously. Not sneaking, but quietly. So we will roll a wits roll. Actually, we'll just roll using the dungeon delve move here. Yeah, we'll just do a wits roll. Roll. Miss with a match. Oh my gosh, I have been rolling terribly. Okay, so I think that means we're walking into an ambush, unfortunately. Our careful creeping did not pan out as we left this cave into a clearly worked room. We thought, oh, it'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen? Well, I'll tell you, walking into a monster ambush. So let's find out what kind of monsters we're facing here. We flip our page. All right, first we roll to see, we're on floor 2. So we roll at number 3. So we got a level 1 monster. Okay, that's good at least. All right, so let's see who we're facing. Roll D100. 1. Giant bats. Okay. I don't think giant bats sound very dangerous. In fact, they seem like the appropriate thing to be in a cave. They are unfortunately similar to the sturges that we just fought, but what can you do? So let's go, and we are going to have to enter the fray. Cormac was leading, and he has better shadow, so I think he can do it. Let's see, how do we enter the fray when we're being ambushed? Enter the fray. Oh, when we're ambushed, we roll wits. Okay, good. So we've got no choice here. Strong hit. Nice. Take +2 momentum, and we have initiative. Okay, so Cormac shouts, he's got the lantern up, and he's the first one to notice the flittering on the ceiling, and then as they enter the room, they're distracted, but then all of a sudden these giant bat-sized dog-sized bats, bat-sized dogs would be very weird, dog-sized bats drop down from the ceiling, and they lunge for the pair of them. So here, let's say, fight giant bats. Now, I don't think this is going to be tough. They're troublesome, not that big of a deal. So I think we're going to start just by having him use edge. I don't think he can use wits in battle, except for in particular circumstances. I don't think you could secure an advantage by knowing about bats. They don't have any special weaknesses or anything. So let's have him roll edge, not to attack, I don't think, but actually, yeah, let's have him roll edge to strike. Might as well. We could get lucky. We didn't get lucky, and I could use my momentum. I mean, just to turn it. I think I'm going to. So we inflict harm and lose initiative. I just can't keep having him lose rolls. So harm is 2 harm because we're using deadly magic. So that means we inflict 6 of the damage that we need to, but he loses initiative. That's still pretty good. Because I think we could finish this fight real quick. So, the first of the bats drops down, a couple of them, and he opens up with a spell of burning hands, and just a wave of fire washes over them, and the bats fall dead. And then Pembroke comes in, and she steps in right after him with her sword swinging, and let's see. Another weak hit. Okay, so we lose initiative. Unfortunately, that means we're not going to be able to end this fight. Oop. I need to undo that. That was the wrong one. Okay, so we have both lost initiative here. But we've inflicted enough damage to end the fight. So we need to we have to get a strong hit before we can end this fight. So we now need to respond to something. So let's see, can we Face danger with wit somehow, with instinct, expertise, insight, or observation. I want to roll wits for this. I'm just not sure how I can do it. I can't really think of anything that would teach me what to do here. So I don't think I can roll wits there in good conscience. So I think I'm going to roll, what other stats do I have? Shadow with deception, stealth, or trickery. No, that doesn't sound right either. So I think we're just using our magic again. So let's roll. Another weak hit. We succeed, but face a troublesome cost. We weren't really trying to do anything. We're just trying to get a strong hit to end the fight here. That's one of the things I don't like about the Ironsworn system. Is how dependent ending a fight is on, even if you've got the monster dead, you just have to keep waiting until you can roll a strong hit. So I'm delayed, suffer -1 momentum, endure harm, endure stress, or sacrifice resources. Let's take a spirit hit. We've got plenty of magic right now. Okay, and now it's the knight's turn. All right, she's in good shape here. We'll face iron. Face danger with iron. So we get to use our shield for cover, so we get to add +1. We've already got 3 iron, so we get to roll +5. So I think we're going to be in good shape here. We just need to get a strong hit. Strong hit. Excellent. We got it. So now we can try to end the fight. So let's go back here, and let's roll to finish this. Strong hit. Good. Okay. So we defeat the last of the bats, no problem. All right, so they charge in at us, and they're swiping, and even though we've got most of them, there's one still that's kind of flickering around, biting and nipping at us. And then Pembra finally manages to just shield bash the thing out of the way, and it falls to the ground. And the pair of our adventurers here take a breath, and they survey their surroundings, and Cormac lifts his lantern again, and they see it, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Just what the guy was looking for. So I'm actually going to get to mark progress here. Here we go. On find information about history of the ruins. We found another frescoed room. And so what do we learn in this frescoed room? Let's see. See's Law. Okay, so this room has got a fresco that shows, is it a king? I'm going to say 50-50 whether it's a king. 31, yes. Okay, so it shows a sultan, like a man in disheveled sultan's robes being dragged out of the palace and hung by another sultan. So it shows some kind of usurpation or coup that happened, and it's clear from the way they illustrated the sultan that he was not considered a noble king. You know, it's the people who drew this fresco were happy to have him dead. So we take a note of that, and we take a note of its location, and then we head back, and we go from room 6, and we head south. So let's start by drawing. Okay, so first we have our 30-foot corridor. Every chamber exits to a 30-foot corridor. And actually, I think if this is a cave, it would have kind of a rough corridor, not a... let me turn off snap. There we go. So we've got this cavey section here. There we go. Okay, and now let's see what we find. First, actually, I'm going to do my delve roll. So we are on our wizard. He's going to lead us through. So let's roll delve. Delve the depths with wits. Mark progress or find an opportunity. Okay, I think we're just going to mark progress here. So we go to the knight. I wish that there was a way to handle 2 characters on here. That would be much more convenient. Okay, so we got our 4th mark there. Theoretically, I'm supposed to be deleting some of these, but because we're so close to the dungeon and we haven't died yet, I'm just adding them up. And I'm not being that strict about whether we're actually going to complete it or not. This dungeon is obviously going to be more than 40 rooms, so we'll see. Okay, so we mark progress there. We just got, that means it was basically a weak hit, probably. All right, and so now let's switch to our Ruins of the Undercity and see what we found. With a weak hit, I don't think we're liable to an ambush, but we're not going to be ambushing very likely either. And we're also not going to be keeping on our guard for traps as much as we should. So let me roll that up. All right, not very exciting, but I got a 20 by 30 chamber that is half flooded and is has no exits. So we have actually locked ourselves into this dungeon and we have no way out. This is the first time this has happened for me. All of my other Undercity games have had more doors than you could use. Here, let me clear this to the side there. Shoot. Wow, okay, hold on. There we go, that's better. Okay, so we've just got an empty chamber here. All right, so do 8. That's room 8, oops. Bring this guy down. All right, so we've got an empty half-flooded chamber, but it does say that we can check for secret rooms. So I think what we can do here is probably face danger with shadow. I think that's, or maybe secure an advantage. Let me see. Yeah, assess a situation. I think wits would be the most Ironsworn-y, but in Dungeons and Dragons, right, stealth, this is kind of the realm of the thief. So I think we have to face danger with wits. And I know we'll be able to find a secret passage eventually, because there's got to be one. But we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, maybe we just have to find a new entrance into the dungeon. A weak hit. So our advantage is short-lived. Take +1. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the wrong character. All right, let's try it with shadow again. It's probably going to be worse. Strong hit. Actually, it was not worse. Okay, we gain an advantage. Choose one. Take control or prepare to act. I think I'll take that momentum. So they poke around in this flooded cave, and then they're searching, and then eventually Cormac waves Pembra over, and he points down. And it's, the water is almost up to their waist, but just barely below the surface of the water. He puts his hand under, and he finds a tunnel that leads deeper into the dungeon. But it means they're going to have to crawl through the dark. I don't think I would do it, personally. But let's see what they find on the other side here. All right, so we've got to roll and see what's on the other side of this secret door. I got 20. Oh, no, the door is trapped. So we have to roll on this traps table. Let's see. 40. A pit or a cesspit. Affects the first line? None. Okay, so we got lucky. That's the only trap that doesn't do damage. So Pembra, she lowers herself down. She takes a breath. She has her sword out. She's poking to make sure that she doesn't... she's got room to come up. She's prepared to lunge back if she can't. And then as she steps, her foot falls off and she sinks smack dab into like a thick, murky waste. And it's deep underwater and she can't see it. And she grabs for the ledge and she manages to haul herself back up. It's not so deep she can't get out. And she comes up gasping into the air again. And it's just disgusting. There's no way I'm going in there without light. So I think that Cormac is going to have to cast a light spell. So I think for that I'm going to have to secure an advantage using Essence. So let's do that. So we've got 4 for this. And let's roll. A weak hit for secure an advantage. So we get +1 momentum. And if I do take +1 momentum on a hit. So my magical energy is down to 3. And my momentum is now up to 6. So he casts the spell and it grants them a little bit of light. And so, and happily it works underwater. So they're able to crawl back into the tunnel and they're able to avoid this obvious pit. Like it wasn't a trap, it was just a mistake. And so let's see where they go. All right, let's see. We've got a corridor. All right, and let's see which direction it heads. Straight ahead. Okay. So let's find out what kind of corridor it is. Okay. Happily, it's I guess happily for them, it's a straight tunnel. Here we go. Let's bring it up to here. And let's put the secret door in there. That's too big, obviously. Okay, but it's back to masonry. They're no longer in a cave. So whatever tunnel they climbed through, it must have been tunneled out from the other side because they emerge into a dark, unlit tunnel that is back to being made of the the uneven flagstones and worked masonry of the rooms upstairs. All right, and the air here is dank and moldy, but when they climb up above that little pit, at least they're dry. All right, so let's see what we continue on to. 6, another corridor. All right. All right, excellent. We actually have a branching corridor here, which should buy us a couple of more rooms. So the corridor continues on for another 30 feet. But it also branches to the left 30 feet. So they're able to see the tunnel continuing in either direction. I think they're going to continue to the right. Let me see. Ooh, they actually find a scroll case. So as they continue this way, their left, our right, they see something small, like kind of placed on the side of the road there, and they open it up, or they bend to pick it up, and it's a case for a scroll that's clearly it's ornate. It's made of wrought iron, and there's images of flowers and thorns kind of entwined, all wrapped around the outside of the case. And I don't think there's anything in it, but it's certainly worth money. According to the rulebook, it's worth 25 gold pieces. I don't think that's enough to count as a... I'm going to add that to our inventory. I don't think that's enough to count as an actual treasure to bring back for our quest. Yeah, 25 gold piece scroll case. That's not enough, but it's better than nothing. So we're going to keep going. All right, and so now let's make another Delve the Depths roll with wits. Let's see. All right, so we'll roll Delve the Depths. Strong hit. Nice. Okay, so we could mark progress and find an opportunity. So we'll go back to the night, and we get to mark progress on our dungeon here. Mark. And we also get to find an opportunity. So let's see, what kind of opportunity do we find? We roll a D100 for that. And we're going to get a +1 bonus for our next quest, or for our next move. 13, the terrain favors you, or you find a hidden path. Nice, okay. I think I'm going to go with the terrain favoring me. So whatever comes up next, we're going to have some kind of advantageous terrain. So let's see what we're going to run into. 15, we've got a chamber. We've not rolled we've only had one room so far this whole game. Chambers are these ones with the open, where the corridor just heads directly in, and rooms are indoors. And we have not rolled any doors yet. But, okay, we find a chamber. Let's see what kind. Okay, it's just another empty 20 by 20 foot square. That's empty. So I'm just going to mark it like that. That's not interesting. I'm going to get to keep that +1 bonus for the next time. Well, or maybe that's it. Okay, so how do we describe that as the advantage of our find an advantage? They move quietly into the room, and it's just another damp and moldy chamber, and they take a short break to maybe eat some of their rations and refuel their lantern with oil, and they wake up refreshed and ready to move on a little faster. So we'll go back to Cormac to do another Delve the Depths move, and we get +1 add this time because we found that opportunity. So let's roll. A weak hit. Okay. Let's see. And because we got that +1, we also gain 1 momentum on a hit, which is a nice benefit of finding an opportunity. So I think that momentum is represented by the fact that we are rested and refreshed. But we only got a weak hit this time, so let's see what we find. What are we? 81 with wits. Oh, we take both. We get to mark progress and find an opportunity. Okay, so we actually got lucky. So let's see. So we mark progress again. And we are delving even deeper. We have not found, unfortunately, anything on our scarred kobolds that we're supposed to find, or ruins lately. So I think we might find some of those eventually, but let's see what kind of opportunity we find. 13, terrain favors you, or you find a hidden path again. Okay, so I think we need to roll and see what we encounter before we figure that out. Okay, I got another chamber with no exits. So I just keep running into no exit thing. But this time we actually got a benefit. It has a brazier and charcoal's burning, so there's like a torch lit, and there's a treasure only. So we're going to get to find a treasure. So let's see. And we know that our benefit that we found was secret passage. So I think this room had a secret door, but it was accidentally left open or just cracked. So we're able to find it without too much trouble. And now let's see what kind of treasure we're finding. Here we go. So the treasure type is 7. Precious conch shells, equivalent to 100 gold pieces per level. So that's 200 gold pieces. Nice. Okay. And the treasure is contained in sacks. So they're sacks of precious conch shells. And they are trapped by poison gas that can cause d6 damage against a save. So that's not good. Okay. So let's mark our thing here. All right, so they walk into yet another chamber, and this one, unlike the other ones they've entered, there are braziers set around the room in the 4 corners, each one of which is emitting this foul, like noxious smoke that's just rising from them, and it's filling the whole room. And okay, I'm going to draw those in. Okay, there we go. I think those look kind of cool. So as the party enters, they smell it first, and then they start to cough. But they notice like a bag set on an altar right here. So let's draw that in too. It's kind of cool. There we go. Yeah, so it's set on an altar. And they're not particularly fancy looking sacks, but they're clearly left on like this stone altar that's got like a velvet or a felt cloth draped over it, so it's clearly something important. But so they're going to have to charge in and try to get it and get out. So I'm going to have Pembra face danger with iron, but she's not going to get to use her shield because this is just withstanding poison. But so let's have her face danger with iron to try to get it. Miss. Ooh. Okay, do I want her to take damage? It's either that or give up my momentum. Let's see. I think I guess I'll spend the momentum. It's fine. Okay, so I'll spend the momentum to make it a strong hit. So I immediately get +1 back for a strong hit for successfully facing danger. So she charges forward and grabs up the bag of conch shells, which I'm going to count as a hit for finding treasure, since these conch shells are worth 200 gold pieces. And when she's there, she notices that there's kind of a door behind the altar, and it's just ever so slightly open. And so she pushes it open the rest of the way. And let's find out what we see on the other side of the door. Okay, so I rolled up actually a 20 by 20 foot room with no exits. But I'm tired of no exits, so I'm rolling the exits again. And this time I got 3 exits. Okay, that's good enough. We need something to go on here if we're going to like make it in this dungeon. So I think we'll leave it there. We'll take those three exits. But let's find out what's in this room. Actually, we got frescoes again. That's crazy. So there's only an 11% chance of getting frescoes, and I've gotten it 3 times in 10 rooms. Pretty unlikely, but I guess I've gotten no rooms other than that, so everything is being weird this game when it comes to dice. So here, let's draw these 3 doors in. All right. And the frescoes are certainly something that we're going to be happy to find and relate to our guy who's looking for them. That's going to give us a tick on our other quest. Let's see, can I get that in there? There we go. Nice. Oh, and then we need an S for the secret door. We're a little cramped when it comes to these guys. Yeah, that's hard to see. You know, maybe I can delete that wall. That might make it a little easier. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. So we've got frescoes, and let's see what we actually face in the room. 13. Monster and treasure. Nice. Okay. So what kind of treasure are we looking at? 13. 250 gold pieces per level. So that's 500 gold pieces. And we're facing a level 1 monster. And let's see. He is going to be a 98. Zombies again. Okay. So we've already faced some zombies before. Let's see how many we're facing this time. 2 zombies. Okay, the 2 zombies almost killed us last time, but I think we've got to do it to be fair. I think one of the spirits of playing solo role-playing games is you've got to take it easy on yourself when you can, but you also have to be fair. So like, I'm not quibbling with myself for adding these 3 rooms to the door. It was just getting boring having no rooms to explore. But, you know, if we roll up two zombies, we're going to have to fight them. So we step through the door behind this altar, and we find ourselves in a room covered in patterns of, let's see, what are these pictures of? Depart time. You know, because we've got zombies and we're departing time, I think this is a chamber for mummification. This, you know, they've got pictures of people having their entrails pulled out and mummified, and they're placed on slabs, and there's pictures of dark priests casting some kind of rituals on them. And set into the niches beneath these frescoes are niches, and there's corpses in them. And as we enter, the corpses begin to rise, and it's clear we're going to have to fight or charge back out through the poison smoke. But we've just hit past the 40-minute mark here, so I think the rest of this fight is going to have to take place during our next session. So I hope you guys will subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up if you're liking the content. Hit the bell for notifications, and let me know in the comments what you think. You know, if you do any solo role-playing, if you've got any tips or things that work well for you, I'd love to hear them. I've been doing this for quite a few years, but even so, I love reading blogs or learning new things from other players, because solo role-playing is such a skill-based game. You get so much better at it as you go and as you learn. I'm still learning things every day that make the games more enjoyable or more interesting. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you do different or what I could do to make things a little more interesting. And I hope to see you guys all next time. Before I leave, because I might forget, I'm going to mark that we found that other treasure, because we know there is a treasure here. If we have to flee, I'll delete it. But I think for now, we can consider that it's good. And I think we can also mark History of the Ruins. So this was actually a very momentous room to get to sneak into. And that was all thanks to that Delve the Depths roll. Okay, so I think that's it. And so next time we're going to delve the depths to see how we get into this room. I think we have to roll edge, unfortunately, since we are running through the smoke. And that will let us know whether we're ambushed or whether we get the jump on these zombies. Okay, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you next time.